If you've been watching my series about living in Costa Rica, then you know there are plenty of lifestyles for just about every budget, and there are plenty of pros and cons to living in Costa Rica. So if you're not completely sold, you might actually want to consider looking next door to Panama. International Living consistently ranks Panama as one of the top retirement destinations on their annual Global Retirement Index. In fact, this year, Panama actually dethroned Costa Rica as their #1 retirement hotspot. And if you've subscribed to my channel, then you already know that I spent December of 2024 living in Costa Rica. But what you might not know is I've also spent some time living in Panama. And so in today's video, I'm going to break down some distinct differences between the two countries. And stick around until the end because the last two could potentially be deal breakers if you're thinking about living in Panama long term. So similar to Costa Rica, Panama also offers a variety of lifestyles for retirees, slow travelers, and digital nomads. And right out the gate, one of the things that you will notice that is a big difference between the two countries is the infrastructure. So for me, it started the moment I left Tucumán Airport and hopped on Corredor Sur to head into Panama City. The quality of the roads was just like being in the United States. And as I got closer to the city and I could see that skyline of Panama City, they had all kinds of like luxury condominiums, skyscrapers with the names of multinational companies on the side. They had these modern urban hospitals, with modern facades, touting all of their modern medical equipment. Honestly, seeing Panama City for the first time gave me total Miami vibes. I really felt like I was in South Florida. And you will notice basically the quality of construction within Panama City and in some of the more well-developed areas of the country, it really is North American standards of building. And so whether you're looking to rent a condo or maybe you're looking into a commercial property for your business, you're going to find things to be very similar to what you might find in the US or Canada. The other thing as it relates to infrastructure where Panama definitely has a leg up over Costa Rica is as it relates to public transportation. So yes, they have plenty of buses in Costa Rica that will take you just about anywhere in the country, but Panama's public transportation system is significantly more efficient than the one in Costa Rica. And one thing that Panama has that Costa Rica doesn't is a metro. And that metro can take you anywhere you want to go in Panama City and can take you from Panama City all the way to Tucumán International Airport. And, the country is really working to improve the metro system. They currently have a couple improvement projects underway that are going to further expand metro service so that it basically spans the majority of the country. So you'll be able to go from Tucumán Airport all the way into Chiriquí Province, past Boquete, into David, almost as far as the Costa Rican border. And then on the other side, they're going to have the metro extend out to some of the popular beach areas to help alleviate some of the congestion that happens when a lot of the Panamanians are heading to their beach houses over the weekend on Friday nights. And so not only are they extending metro service out that way, they're also widening the road. So it's really going to improve the traffic flow throughout those parts of the country. So infrastructure is definitely something where Panama has a leg up over Costa Rica. So the second thing is huge. The second thing is currency. So as I mentioned in my previous video, Costa Rica, they have the colon, and I spent a lot of my time in Costa Rica trying to convert colones to dollars and figuring out my budget and how much I spent. But that is not an issue at all in Panama because in Panama, the national currency is the balboa. The Panamanian balboa is tied to the US dollar, so they're valued at 1-to-1. And the US dollar is a widely accepted currency throughout Panama. So depending upon where you're going, if you're paying cash, they'll definitely accept dollars. You might get change though back in dollars or balboas, depending upon where it is you're shopping. But it just makes things so much simpler. You don't have to be constantly thinking about how you're going to convert your money. So that's one huge benefit of moving to Panama. So the third area where Panama really shines is with their visa options. And I think that's probably one of the real reasons why Panama consistently keeps coming out on top on that ranking from International Living because of the pensionado visa. So I mentioned previously, Costa Rica has a pensionado visa, and so do a lot of Latin American countries. And in various European countries, you'll also find other types of retirement visas. However, A couple things really distinguish Panama from all the competition. So the first thing is the income requirements. So at the time of recording this video, in order to qualify for a pensionado visa as a single person, you only need a monthly income of $1,000 per month or $1,200 per month as a married couple. And the thing though, obviously about the retirement visa or the pensionado visa is that it does require that money to come from some sort of lifetime income source, such as a pension or Social Security or some sort of lifetime annuity payment. So that's kind of the catch on that one. But if you do qualify for this pensionado visa, the actual paperwork process is fairly straightforward. And then once you are approved and you receive your visa, you get permanent residency, which is a game changer compared to a lot of other retirement visas out there where your initial visa is good for a year or two and then you have to reapply for permanent residency and this and that. As of the time of recording this video, that is not the case in Panama. Once you become a pensionado, then you become eligible for the pensionado program. You get access to various discounts, and these discounts can be anywhere between 15 and 50%, depending upon what you're getting the discount on. So the program covers all kinds of things that you would normally be spending money on anyway, like different types of entertainment costs, like movie tickets or restaurants, hotels, utility bills, prescription drugs, and other types of medication or medical services. So it really is a huge savings. So that kind of gives Panama the leg up, especially if you're someone who's thinking about retiring. But maybe you're not ready to retire, or maybe you don't qualify for a pensionado visa. Panama also has the Friendly Nations visa as an option. So if you're from the US or you're from Canada, the UK, or a number of other countries that Panama has deemed as friendly nations, then you could potentially qualify for the Friendly Nations visa. And I'm not going to get too in the weeds in explaining all of them. There are several different types of visas. It could be for things like depositing money in a Panamanian bank account, some sort of real estate investment, or opening a Panamanian company. There's a wide variety of ways in which someone could potentially qualify for this. So if you're serious about trying to obtain residency in Panama, you should definitely check in with a Panamanian immigration attorney, because I am not an attorney and this is not legal advice. If you're finding value in this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps YouTube to recommend videos like this to other viewers just like you looking for more information about living, traveling, and working abroad. Thank you. Now back to the video. So what are some areas where Costa Rica comes out ahead of Panama? So like I mentioned, these last two could really potentially be deal breakers. And the first one is going to affect your everyday, day-to-day life, and that is the language barrier. So in Costa Rica and Panama, the national language is Spanish. However, I found English was a lot more widely spoken in Costa Rica, whether you were in the tourist areas or in the Central Valley, like I was living among the locals in Heredia City. A lot of people there speak English. They teach it in schools, and it's easier to get by even if you have kind of just like Spanglish or only are speaking English, but you need help. People are able to help you. In Panama, though, you need to learn some Spanish, especially if you're living in Panama City. So if you're thinking you're going to move there and you're just going to be able to get by with just English, it's going to be pretty difficult. If you want kind of a softer landing, you could consider moving to some of the areas that are heavily populated by expats, where you'll find more English speakers and probably more people that are bilingual. So that will help kind of ease your transition. But eventually you are going to need to learn Spanish. It's going to make your life a lot easier, especially when you're doing your adulting with things like going to the bank or paying bills or going to, different shops or restaurants. So speaking at least some Spanish will go a really long way in Panama. Obviously have your Google Translate handy, but you are going to need to be able to have a decent understanding of Spanish to be able to communicate effectively in Panama, especially if you're planning on living there long term. The other thing that might bother you and could potentially be a deal breaker is the customer service culture in Panama. And so, like I mentioned in my video about Costa Rica, people went above and beyond with the customer service. It was like 5-star, top-notch customer service, whether I was shopping in a store or whether I was in a restaurant that was just like a mom and pop hole in the wall, all the way up to a finer dining establishment. In Panama, that is not going to be the case. And so this is not at all a knock on the Panamanian people. I find the people there to be very kind. It's just they have a different customer service culture. And so they may not seem as attentive as what you might expect. And so I'll give you an example. I actually have a friend who is Panamanian, and he went to college in the US and lived and worked in the US for many years until he got a job transfer that sent him back to Panama. And I checked in with him a little bit after he had moved back home, and he said the one thing that was just driving him insane was the lack of customer service. He was like, I feel like I have to fight for everything and I'm in my own country, because he had gotten so used to the customer service style in the US that just doing something as simple as, maybe calling up your cell phone company, or, trying to do some basic, some sort of basic adulting, like getting a repair person or what have you, is just so different than what he'd gotten used to in the US. And so if you're from a place like the US where there is a stronger customer service culture, you are going to feel that when you come to Panama. And so you're going to have to make a conscious decision to recognize that that is the culture, and that you're going to have to accept that and figure out how to best adapt, because you can't go in and change that. So if having like top tier, super responsive customer service is something that's important to you, then Panama might not be for you. Again, not to say that you're not going to get the things that you might need, or the things that you're looking for, but you might have to go after them. So like you walk into a store, they might not greet you and say, hey, welcome to the store, how can I help you? If you're looking for something specific, you might have to seek out the person that's working there. If you're going to a restaurant, yes, you're going to have a server, but you might need to find them if you want, a refill on your drink or whatever that is. So just keep that in mind. So those are some of the distinct differences between Panama and Costa Rica. Honestly, I really enjoyed my time in Panama, and I could totally see myself potentially living there or retiring there, or like staying there as a snowbird a few months out of the year. And stay tuned for my next video, where I'm going to share with you some of the top areas for expats to relocate, but also some hidden gems that are flying under the radar where you could get a little bit more bang for your buck. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.